City Council members, 429 C Street. It is October 6, 2020. Please silence all electronic devices and proceed to those in attendance. Thank you. First order of business is called to order. B, invocation. Please rise and remain standing for the pledge. Let us pray. Lord, have mercy on family members with medical needs and let their prayers be answered. And watch over the city's business meeting and help us to make decisions in the best interest of our citizens. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Lyons.
Here.
Councilmember Scaldi.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Plord.
Present.
Mayor Neal. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any closed session reports
Nothing to report, Council.
and agenda approval, additions, or deletions?
There are none.
Okay. Public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. Please refer to the policy as part of this agenda. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. We have ceremony and presentation section 1, no ceremonies, no presentations. Department and city managers report section 2.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We have one director report this evening from Chief Kendall.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Plord, council members. I just wanted to provide you with a brief update in regards to the homicide we had on the 27th of last month. Our detectives have been working basically nonstop. They were able to identify 2 of the suspects, both suspects involved in the homicide. They were able to locate one of those suspects in Texas. They had the local jurisdiction arrest him, and he's currently awaiting extradition over there. We do believe that we know where the second suspect is at this time, and we'll continue to work this case until that second suspect is apprehended and brought back to Kings County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, consent calendar, section 3. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will all be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. 3-1, approval minutes regular meeting September 15, 2020. 3-2, approval award of Vine Street Bike Path and Pedestrian Facility Project. 3-3, approval facility lease agreement between the City of Lemoore and Kings Community Action Organization. Does a member of the council wish to have any item pulled for separate consideration?
Negative. No.
Has anybody from the public requested an item be pulled?
No.
Has a council member wish to make a motion?
I guess I will motion to accept the consent calendar
I would like to
as read. Yeah.
A motion from Councilmember Lyons, a second from Councilmember Scaldi. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
Councilmember Scaldi.
Aye.
And Councilmember Plord. Aye. So consent calendar is approved. The next item of business is section 4, public hearings, 4-1. Public hearing, project development agreement and cannabis regulatory permit between the City of Lemoore and People's Farming LLC for cannabis cultivation and consideration of 2 lease purchase option agreements of city property to People's Properties LLC. City Manager.
Nathan, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
You're
Yes.
on. You're on.
Okay, so good evening, Mayor and council members. So before you tonight is 3 things. One is approving the project development agreement and cannabis regulate between the city of Lemoore and People's Farming. And we're also going to consider 2 leases that are attached to their project development agreement. The 2 properties that they are looking to lease from the city for $2,000 an acre with a lease option to purchase. One's located, it's actually 18.99 acres located south of the wastewater plant. The intent for that particular parcel is to, down the road, have property that would be available for potential manufacturing and processing of cannabis. And maybe on the western side of that, to do a small greenhouse to support their biomass crop as part of the other lease. That other lease is the North Well Field. When you take out all our wells and the access roads, there's about 52 acres of usable farmland. They're wanting to grow biomass, so basically you grow cannabis, but instead of hand harvesting and pulling off the flower and the byproducts, everything gets cut with like a silage machine, and it all goes to oils. So that's what's in front of you tonight. The 2 leases are good for about $142,000 a year. And then we're anticipating up to another $100,000 a year for the biomass fees that we will collect off of the North Field wells. And then it's to be determined exactly what's going to take place on the 19 acres, but it will be in conformance with our current ordinance and in the spirit of the project development agreement, but that'll come down the road. Any questions?
This is Scaldi. So you're looking, you're not looking for a vote tonight. You're looking for us to give you direction.
No, it's
No, this
for an
is-
actual vote and approval.
Yeah, this is for approval and vote of their project development agreement to allow the city to issue them their cannabis regulatory permit, which they've already been cleared through the background process through our PD for our ordinance. And then we have 2 lease agreements also that are going tonight before you.
So we're going to direct the city manager or designee to sign a project development agreement and issue a cannabis regulatory permit proposed by and between the city of Lemoore and People's Properties. Additionally, we're going to approve 2 lease property option agreements with People's Property LLC. We do that in 2 parts, or can we make that all one motion?
You can make it all one motion, just as long as the record's clear.
Okay. Do you have any question on what the city's asking for? Why don't we just go ahead and open up the public hearing and see what the public has to say about it? I will open the public hearing. Does the city clerk have any inputs from the public?
I have not received any public comment for this item.
Okay, no comments. Okay, well, I'm going to close the public hearing. And now we're going to discuss. The staff report kind of speaks for itself as far as what properties and where they are and how much we're supposed to gain from it. And I had a couple of questions about property taxes that were answered. So that's all I have to say about it.
I will say that maybe I didn't do my due diligence, and typically in the city, I've talked to Chief Kendall about his perception of any type of a cannabis related organization or business. And I haven't had a chance because obviously we're out in the county for the property out by the river. And I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Sheriff Robinson to see his feelings on that. And I apologize. That's me not doing my own due diligence.
Well, this is going to be for cultivation purposes, and we're going to need to have 3 votes tonight in favor in order to pass this. So
Correct.
if you have any questions,
Well, I'm going to have several questions, and I don't have Sheriff Robinson around to get in contact with to see his opinion. Like I said, I take law enforcement, their opinion on things that weighs heavily on the way I vote. And like I said, every time that something's come up with the dispensaries in town or even out here with the cultivation, if I didn't talk to him personally, he came up in front of the dais and spoke about his opinion on the matters. So I'm wondering if there's a way that I can table this until next month.
let's ask this.
Or I'm sorry, maybe not next month. I apologize. My apologies, next meeting.
City manager, would it be something that we could table for 2 weeks? Otherwise, it's going to.
I don't.
Otherwise, it's going to fail.
Yeah. No, we'll table it, but just for the record, this is city property, and this is in line with pretty much everything we've done to date. There's really nothing new in this agreement at all that we've passed with multiple other developers. So, yeah, I mean, if Councilman Scaldi needs time to talk to the chief who's there tonight, but to reach out to the sheriff, then I guess that's what we'd have to do.
Again, I think that the jurisdiction of it, just based off of where it's located, would put it not necessarily in the city of Lemoore's jurisdiction.
It is our
It is our property, but I
Yes,
promise
we're
you,
annexed in.
Chief
That is
Kendall's not going to send.
that is city property.
I'm not arguing that, but I don't think that LPD or Chief Kendall's going to have people going out there patrolling the neighborhood. And like I said, I don't think it could hurt. I mean, if this is something that needs to be taken care of today, like I said, I apologize, but I want to do my due diligence. I think it's that for all the stakeholders, I think that that's what they're owed. So I can't, again, in my right mind, vote on something, and I apologize. But it doesn't make sense for me to vote on something that I haven't done my due diligence on.
Well, do you have a motion to table?
I will make a motion to table 4-1 until October 20th, the next Lemoore City Council meeting.
Council, with a recommendation and a note that the public hearing has been closed, so you wouldn't be continuing the public hearing, you're just tabling this matter for your consideration to October 20th.
The public hearing's been held. And
Correct.
We're not going to have another one. We're just going to have a discussion and vote on a motion if there is one.
Okay.
So we have a second on tabling?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
I was going to ask the one question that I don't know if Chief Kendall might have any insight as to what Mr. Robinson, what his take would be on it. I don't know if that would make a difference.
Like I said, I think that the units patrolling that would definitely be, based off its location, would definitely be Kings County and probably Fresno County based off of the location of said property.
Well, Fresno County, I doubt.
Well, that'd be a question that, like I said, I would ask Sheriff Robinson
Okay.
and want to know his professional opinion. I don't think I can vote on this without doing that due diligence. I apologize again.
Second.
Okay, no discussion, or we've had our discussion. Councilmember Scaldi,
Aye.
Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion is approved, table till the next city council meeting. The next item of business is new business, section 5-1, information only, upcoming holiday events. City manager.
So again, we brought this up in 2 weeks ago during department reports about a couple things we're doing over the holidays. Staff was still kind of moving in that direction. We can't have the traditional parade in a sense due to the COVID restrictions and the county still in the purple. So we have had quite a bit of engagement from the community about doing something. I mean, something's, at least in my opinion, better than doing absolutely nothing at all. Starting with the trunk or treat, we create sponsors, including one of the local churches, and then some of our other service organizations, Lemoore PD and Lemoore Volunteer Fire. So got a lot of buy-in for that. That one's done. Typically, South Valley Church does a big trunk or treat. They're joining efforts with the city this year to help our event out and to try to keep, things to where we don't jeopardize any of our CARES Act funding by doing something we shouldn't be doing. So this is all in the up and up. There's guidelines that people have to follow for handing out the candy if people come through, masks, gloves, things like that. So that is currently being planned by the rec center in the parking lot there. And then the reverse Christmas parade, again, would kind of be the parade route. Instead of having a bunch of vehicles moving, the floats would be off to the side and families would go through. Kind of, I guess if you want to compare it to something, it'd be kind of like Christmas tree lane, where everybody decorates their yards and everybody drives through and takes a look. It'd kind of be the same thing. So with that being said, I don't know if Mary, if you want to add any more about the purple, that we're still in purple here in Kings County and how that limits us to what we can and can't do.
Yeah, I can. So back in the end of August, the state of California, the governor, instituted a tiered system. Currently, Kings County is in the purple tier, which is the most restrictive tier that there is. In order to, and they're still in that tier, in order to advance to a new tier, a county has to have been in the current tier for a minimum of 3 weeks. The county must meet criteria for the next less restrictive tier for both measures for the prior 2 consecutive weeks in order to keep progressing. And in addition, the state just also established health equity measures that demonstrate a county's ability to address the most impacted communities within a county. While you're in that purple tier, City Manager Olson brought up the fact that we don't want to put any CARES funding at risk, and the county is monitoring the city closely in that regard. But also, currently, while you're in the purple tier, it's encouraged that you still maintain the 6-foot distance, that you are moving within your own family unit whenever you're outdoors doing anything. So basically, you're not commingling with the public. And I don't know if you have any additional questions regarding that tier. That's pretty high level, but basically, we're still in the worst case scenario, which is why our meetings are still closed as well.
Well,
Any other questions from council?
Yeah. So if we were to advance to, I believe the
Red.
tier lower is red, what are the restrictions as far as red goes?
Okay, so I have the chart up right now. So the restrictions, critical infrastructure, open with modifications, your outdoor. I'll go to the more outdoor activities since that's what the city functions are probably geared toward. So your outdoor playgrounds and outdoor recreational facilities, same in the red as it is within the purple, open with modifications. Shopping centers open indoors with modifications. It just increases the capacity from 25% capacity to 50% capacity. Let's see, museums, zoos, and aquariums in the red, they can start opening indoors with modifications with an indoor activities max of 25% capacity. Go to outdoor sports. Professional sports, still in the red, you're open without live audiences and with modifications. And that's the extent of the outdoor items. Oh, here, family entertainment centers, still when you're in the red, outdoor only with modifications. And the examples that they give in the state of California chart is kart racing, mini golf, batting cages. So it's just being outdoors.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe we should just cancel it altogether, the Christmas parade, because, you know, a band marching in place 6 feet apart, you know, for however long a parade is, doesn't seem to make much sense.
I don't think,
Yeah, John, we won't have like the marching bands and whatnot, but we will have people that have the abilities to do their floats. And like I said, we are getting quite a bit of calls on it. We've been holding off on putting out all the details till after this meeting. But, I'm still a strong proponent that, the rec center, Sheila over there is behind this, and it will be a good event. And it will give people an option and give people something to do in a safe manner that doesn't get us in trouble with the CARES Act.
and
It's an option for people to go out and have some normalcy.
I agree. I'm not with Mayor Pro Tem Pleward on canceling it. But a lot of that changing from purple to red dealt with modifications. So if we modify our parade, like I said last council meeting, I believe, to extend it instead of going from Follett to Hill, take it Follett down to Byron or even 19th Avenue, where we can have families with a little bit more distancing. So instead of a quarter mile, and I don't know the exact dynamics of how far it is from Follett to Hill, instead of a quarter mile, we take it 3/4 of a mile so that you don't have people on top of each other. But I don't think that.
So Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's about social distancing at that point. It's about the maximum number of people allowed at an event. So it's like if you have it'd be no different than having a football stadium that holds 100,000, but they're only letting 25,000 in. They fit in that. So I don't think stretching people out gives you the right to have more than X amount of attendees
Well, I'm saying
for
that
an event.
if you have between Follett and Hill, you can put a maximum of, let's say, 15,000 people down there. And so that would be in a regular year. And I've never sat there and counted people at the Lemoore Christmas parade, but I've been involved with it for 22 years at least consecutively. And when I was younger, a lot more than that. That if we're modifying it to go longer, and so is it going to be less people? I mean, I would think that a stadium that holds 20,000 like the old Charger Stadium last year is different than SoFi this year, where there's more capacity. We're giving more capacity. We're modifying the route. I'm just saying that I don't think that a parade where the floats are sitting on the side of the road, you're not going to want to have characters that are sitting there for 3 or 4 hours while cars are passing by. You're not going to want to have Santa Claus on the top of 6. You're not going to have the Shriners with their cars parked on the side. You're not going to have the sheriff's posse with their horses just sitting there. It's not. So again, I think that it's something that we can bring up at a later time, because obviously right now we're in purple, but from everything I've heard, more counties are going towards red and even orange. And we can go with it from there. But It's not a parade.
Well, we can't wait too long because you still got a plan. You got to give people time to put things together and not reiterate. Is it going to be like it always is? Absolutely not. But everything we're doing these days are not like they always have been. So I got to say, well, let's not have it. I mean, we got to do something's better than nothing. And is it going to be ideal? No. If there's a Shriners cars out there and they can kind of intertwine in the parade, there might be options there. But your big marching band's probably not going to happen. But your dance studios that could have up to 4, I believe, or 5 people at their thing, they could do a little rendition and play some music or whatever. I know the dance studios are still actively talking to the city about to do stuff because there are limitations because we got to be able to do it safe. Or maybe they do multiple floats to get all their people in to keep their head counts to where they need to be at. But this is all the stuff that we're kind of going through now and getting ready to be putting out to make this a good event for people to go out to at Christmas time.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, but you can't expect King's Dance Center or any other dance organization, not just to point out King's Dance Center, for those girls to sit there and dance for 3 hours consecutively while people are driving by. I think that's unrealistic.
No. Well, I understand that, Chris, but when have we ever had a 3-hour parade in Lemoore?
But it's going to be different when you're having
Everybody drive by.
everybody drive by and look at and stop at different floats and, look at, because they're going to stop and take pictures of their kid on that float, and it's going to be a disruption. It's not going to be,
A constant
if my
flow.
kid is in the parade, I'm taking pictures if it's good or bad. But if my kid's on the side of D Street, I'm going to stop and I'm going to take some pictures and I'm going to make everything pretty. And let's be honest, a lot of people don't care about the people behind them. They're worried about themselves. It's going to be a 3-hour parade.
Well,
The parade that we currently
Could be.
have usually is like an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. So if you allow
Yeah,
the public, that's a whole lot more. And if you want people to social distance in their cars, where you're putting just a family in a car and not a group of people to abide by the COVID rules, it's just going to be, I think, a bigger headache.
So right now, the Christmas parade is tentatively scheduled for December 5th, correct?
yes.
Is there any way we could push that back to the 19th or the 12th? Is that a possibility of moving it 1 week or 2 weeks into the future?
So anything's possible, but you get to the 19th, you're getting kind of close.
Yeah, I understand.
They like to do it kind of around the time you guys bring your tree down.
Well,
That same weekend. I think that's why we got the 5th, because that's the weekend you guys do the tree, is it not?
It's the weekend.
the week
After.
Yeah, that's the weekend after. The tree goes up
So that's what we're trying to do. I mean, I don't know what delaying a week or two is going to do. I mean,
well, what it might
gotta
do
get
is it might
registrations in, they got to start working on things.
I agree with you, Nathan, but whatever we pick, we're going to have to pick pretty quick so that people can mark their calendars and have things ready.
And that's why
If you can't say
that's why we
it's going to be
kind of already
December,
set a date, we're coming to you guys.
I think if we have a stationary parade with cars going by and we set it for an hour and a half and the parade's over, then that's it. If we do a regular parade and stretch it out and make it longer, we'll have the enforcement issue of people wearing masks and social distancing and everything else. So, neither way is
So
good.
mayor and council members, what we do or what we would intend on doing is once we get our date in, that's when we get in with the police department and we talk about traffic control, where we're going to stage, how we're going to handle that. There's a whole process we'll go through to make sure that it operates smoothly and get our volunteers, do the explorers or the volunteers in policing to help keep things where they need to be. But these are the things that we'll take care of as we plan and get it closer. We've already looped the PD in. So, I mean, they're aware and they kind of know where we're heading with it.
so
This
nothing's
is all
going into
stuff that
stone
we
today,
just gotta get
correct?
together.
We're not putting nothing in stone right now. We're not making any motions or votes on this tonight, are we?
No, it's just
Well,
information.
It's just
there's really
information.
no vote. There isn't a vote needed. Coming to council with it was more of a courtesy to let you guys know that, hey, we can't have a traditional parade, but we're still trying to do stuff. this really is more of a day-to-day city thing and not a, like ordinances and whatnot like that. We're just trying to give our community something nice to do.
No, I
And
fully
it's not
understand.
going to be perfect, and not everybody's going to like it or like maybe how we go about it. But I still go back to let's put something. You know, Sheila's more than willing and already has put a good foot forward to get this thing kind of going and get an excitement around it.
Nathan?
I mean, we can always adjust on the fly if we need to.
Nathan, have you talked to the county at all too? Because they've been the enforcers.
Yeah, Sheila ran through and everything we've put in the guidelines for like the floats and the number of people and this and that, we can meet the requirements to where we're not in trouble, to where we don't get ourselves, you know, in hot wire.
Yeah, I'm not trying to lose.
I think you can only limit it to 4 people per float, and then people are gonna have to decide, you know, hey, is it worth doing? And then if at the end of the day we only get 12 entries, then we look at, you know, not going forward. But we still think at this point there's enough interest or buzz that we think we're gonna have quite a bit of people wanting to participate.
Okay. And I'm not trying to jeopardize the CARES funding in any way, shape, or form. But I just don't think you're going to get the participation by the
Well, without a doubt,
organizations.
you're not going to get the same participation as you had
Or
last
by
year.
the public. And I know we're in a different time than we've been in our lifetimes, but normalcy is a good thing. And if we can make it as normal as possible with modifying it to make sure that we are in compliance with COVID-19 rules and the guidelines set forth by the state, I think that would be awesome.
So
So,
we'll have to wait and see how things play out.
Yeah, I agree.
so do you or does Sheila, and like I said, it's been a great parade as long as I can remember. Do you guys have a timeline of when there's a deadline that we need to kind of set the parade date so that they can send out the applications for organizations to participate?
Well, that's really what we're intending on doing now, actually, is putting out a date. I mean, are we hoping to delay it a week to see if for some miraculous we go from purple to red in that last week's time frame?
Well, I'm thinking that a lot of things can happen between now and October 20th. I've already heard of schools in Kings County that are planning on opening in November. So with the intention that we're going to be in the orange. And not saying it's Lemoore or Hanford or any schools, I'm saying I've heard rumors from pretty good sources that.
I hope that's accurate. Like I said, if they lighten everything up, we can go back to a traditional parade. Wouldn't be that hard. We just have to arrange to do street closures instead of, which we're going to have streets closed anyway. We're going to use some of the floats to do that, but there's not much difference running traditional versus what, you know, we propose at this point. If things change, we can adjust on the fly.
Absolutely, but if you only have 15 organizations that want to put a float up, because no one's going to know the weather on December 5th. I don't want to sit out in the rain.
It's going to rain.
Rain or fog, one of the two. On a float while it's raining.
So in the past, we've never harped on a date for this. It's always been the week after you guys do your tree.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's
I
been
would
the
agree.
standard every year. So
And yeah, it's always been the week that the fire department brings the tree down and sets it up. But again, like you said, times change with COVID. Things aren't always necessarily the norm. I'm saying that we can bring this back up on October 20th, see where we're at as a county.
That's kind of a short notice, October 20th, and then, 6 weeks later is the parade, basically.
that might be pushing close.
That would actually be 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Yeah.
You got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving. This is a busy time of year for everybody.
There's no guarantee we're even going to get a tree this year. Hey, I'm not.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
Hey, where we normally get it, there was a big, fire up there.
No, And I know that. Well, if we can't have a tree, let's at least have something of a parade.
Without a doubt, I'm not in any way, shape, or form on board for canceling. I'd rather have the stationary or the reverse parade, however you word that, than nothing. But I also like Chris's idea of making the parade longer and allowing people to social distance.
I don't think that people social distance.
Well, if you put barricades out there, I don't know, or have,
Don't social distance at Save
Right,
Mart.
but
They
it's
don't wear
not-
their masks at Save Mart.
yeah.
So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
I know. You
Okay,
can't- You
so-
can't say, have a.
Right.
But you can tell people to have 4 people on a float and they're going to have 6 or 8. I mean, and so we go and have PD or some enforcement.
Why don't we just agree that we can't agree? Make, put this on the city manager to make sure that we don't get in trouble with restrictions. And we'll talk about it at the next city council meeting.
Sounds good.
So can I make a motion that we put
No,
this-
no, it's not a motion, it's information.
It's on the next agenda?
You can ask for it to be on the next
Can
agenda.
I make
You don't need a
Ask for
motion, you can just
consensus?
ask for it, yeah.
I get consensus to put this back on?
We have consensus to put it on the next council agenda.
See where we're at.
But as far as, let's go ahead and figure on a stationary parade, worst case scenario, and we'll hopefully improve that down the road. Last order of business for tonight then, we have council, the next item is brief city council reports and requests, section 6, city council reports. Councilmember Lyons.
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Scaldi.
I would like to thank LPD for solving or finding people that they believe are to be the violators of the crime over on 7-Eleven. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that. Thank the fire department and everybody else who has to deal with the public for their safety and stuff like that.
So they've solved 100% of their homicide cases this year.
For like the last year and a half, right? At least since 2018, is that correct? Well, we haven't solved it. It hasn't went to court yet, but hopefully, yes.
That all you have?
That's all I got.
Okay. I have a few things. One, I have a policy meeting tomorrow of the South Fork Kings Groundwater Sustainability Agency, so I'm looking forward to that. It's a Zoom meeting. At the last Kings County Abatement Vehicle or Abandoned Vehicle Abatement Service Authority, I was appointed chair, so I'm very pleased to say I've got something else to do. And also the Kings County Association of Governments, I was appointed vice chair, so that gives me something else to do when I'm.
Congrats.
And the last thing I had is I was going to ask consensus for the bringing back a staff report for consideration on the Downtown Merchants Association. They don't seem to want to attend meetings, so I don't think we have to have meetings that they don't particularly attend. So I think we need to discuss making that downtown merchants go away. But I need consensus of 2 other council members to put it on the agenda.
I'm
Yeah.
good with that.
You're okay? Okay. Something from somebody else? No other input? Okay, so add that to a future agenda. Which brings us to the end of our order of business. The next city council meeting will be on October 20th at 7:30. That concludes our business meeting tonight. We are adjourned.